Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
This is Mr. Chris Claremont, a legend.
Melanie goes,
Tired.
how's it going, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the Grimm Slipcase Edition from Boom Studios. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we're looking at here is the Grimm Book 1 Deluxe Edition with the slipcase. This is also sold just as the hardcover, but I ended up getting the slipcase because I'm a big fan of these Boom slipcases. I'm a sucker for them. And before I even go any further, my buddy Bar, for my birthday, got me hooked on this series. So she sent me Grimm Volumes 1, 2, and 3. And I ended up reading the first couple of issues and I was hooked, but then I had to go and read other books for videos and I went back and revisited and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get the deluxe edition because I really enjoy this story. But it is the artwork that got me hooked more than anything. So let me actually show you a little bit of what the slipcase looks like. The retail price of the slipcase is down here. It's $79.99. Now, of course, it also comes out in a hardcover format, like this on the right-hand side. And that has its own ISBN. This comes, by the way, sealed in plastic, and that retails for $49.99. Now, the contents of Book 1 here are the exact same contents as you find in the trade paperbacks. So it's the first 15 issues that are collected in the hardcover format. The slipcase itself is absolutely beautiful. I love the pattern and design over here. You have the red foil on the skull, or I guess it's more like a spot varnish on it, on that red skull. Just radiates really well on the cover and on the spine. I like that. I like that they do different things with all of their slipcase editions. The book itself doesn't have any of that red foil. It's just this slipcase right here. So let's actually take a closer look at this book right here. Stephanie Phillips, Flaviano, and Rico Renzi, and the Grimm Book 1. And then the spine, Boom Studios, Grimm, Stephanie Phillips, Flaviano, Book 1, and the back of the book with the scythe. And Boom Studios, the ISBN right there, rated Teen Plus. So we're going to crack this book open, but before we do, I did want to note that I love that there's a gloss finish to this scythe symbol right here. And even Jessica herself has some. It's really nice. That's a nice touch. So even though it's not the red foil, it does have like a glossy finish to some of it. It does have a flat spine like all the other Boom Studio hardcovers. So we're going to crack this open, talk about the story, and give you an idea of what the artwork looks like. All right, let's go ahead and crack this book open. You have your red end sheets right there. The title page, Grimm, Book 1, published by Boom Studios. And here are the credits written by Stephanie Phillips and illustrated by Flaviano. Rico Renzi doing the colors, Tom Napoletino doing the lettering, and then, of course, the cover, and then the creators of the book. Now, Stephanie Phillips has gone on and done books like Harley Quinn. Flaviano is the artist that has worked on New Mutants. But together, they created this particular brand new story. And yes, it does continue because this says Book 1, so there will be more. As a matter of fact, I think the 4th trade paperback is due out. And I'm excited for it. I can't wait to read it because I was a big fan of this story. All right, so the story is about this young lady right here, Jessica Harrow. And at the very beginning, by the way, a lot of the stories in here, a lot of the issues, start off with a song. I love that about it. And this collects the first 15 issues of Grimm. The book has 384 pages. The slipcase and the deluxe hardcover have the exact same page count and content. So what Jessica is doing is that she is a Reaper. So, for example, this is how it kicks off. I love how dramatic that is. But this gentleman right here, this is Brian Michael Andrews, who has just died in a car crash. And this cute young lady comes and tells him that, oh no, he's dead, and that she has to escort him to the afterlife. And he doesn't believe it. He was like, I was just a little drunk, and then he feels sorry for himself. He's like, oh man, it was because my ex-girlfriend, she's dating somebody else, and I got a little too drunk. And he's trying to kind of talk his way out of dying, which I guess would be how most of us would handle that. But it's got a couple of tropey things in here, of course, whenever you think of death and the afterlife. She's the Reaper, and she's taking him across the river Styx, and she makes mentions of that. Like it's like you can call it that, but it's got other names. So we know how he dies, and he makes the question of, well, how did you die, Jessica? If you're here in the afterlife and this is your job of being a Reaper to take souls to the afterlife, how did you die? And she doesn't know. And that's the one thing about her. There are other Reapers that we're going to see in this story, but they all know how they died. She doesn't know how she died. And it ties heavily into the main plot of this fantastic journey. So once in the afterlife, he's like, hey, what do I do from here? He starts freaking out. She's like, look, somebody will come talk to you. It's just my job to take you from point A to B. You're on your own now, but somebody will explain everything. Now, unbeknownst to her, he ends up taking her scythe with him. Now, she doesn't know that yet. And we start meeting other Reapers that are here, like Eddie. And also, I love this guy. This is Marcel. And both of them are kind of friends with her. And you can see that there's other Reapers that are coming from different jobs. So she's like, wait a second. My scythe is missing. We got to go and find it. I think the guy that I just escorted out of New York took it. And Eddie and Marcel are like, oh man, I hate New York. But sure. And one thing you start noting is right off the bat from the dialogue, you learn that they all died at different times and different years. So they go back to New York, and sure enough, that's where he is right there. And he's just watching his ex-girlfriend kiss another guy. And he just wanted to come and say hi. But he then realized that the living could not see the dead. So the rules are established. He's like, of course not. The living can't see us. We work in a different dimension. We're not part of this world, but we can look into it. So he refuses to believe her, takes off with her scythe, and she runs after him by turning her face into a skull. Now here's where things get a little interesting. Because as she's running after him and about to beat him down, she is stopped by the cops. Like, not just stopped, he's actually grabbing her, and she freaks out. She's like, you can see me? And this is when things just get interesting. Because the living is not supposed to be able to see the Reapers. So Miss Adira, who we saw at the end there, she finds out, and she's like, oh gosh, now we have to restore balance because this is not the way it's supposed to be. So she ends up calling for something called the End. And the End is this creature that looks like death, like your stereotypical death, and is supposed to set balance here. And she wants to find out how she died because she feels like it's tied to her being able to be seen. And Miss Adira does not want her to know. She's like, it's not important. I'll look into it, but we will figure it out. And she starts snooping. And that's when things get a little bit dangerous. Now, we're only just a couple of issues in, but I feel like that's all I really need to say. Because there's a whole mystery of like, why do you even need Reapers? Well, that's because the big guy, the Grim Reaper, Death, he's been missing for a long time, and nobody really knows where he is. So part of this is trying to go and find Death. Part of this is going to Vegas and trying to find Death and see what's going on, why he walked away. I love this dude right here. This is Vincenzo, and he kind of tells them about, he's another Reaper, about what the End is and what the powers of the End are. And one of the most interesting things about Jessica is that she can summon Death's scythe. So what does that mean? Is she the chosen one? Is she more than she thinks she is? Because she can't remember how she died. Was she always a part of this? And what about other things? Like if there's death in the story, is there also a personification of life? What about the devil? Well, a lot of these things do come to play in this story. There's a couple of other characters that I really enjoy. I really like this conversation between her and the priest here because it does make you ask a lot of questions, of course. It's dancing around the idea of just different beliefs whenever we talked about the river Styx. But it is a great conversation. And then we have, of course, flashbacks too, because we don't know how she died, but how exactly did Eddie die or Marcel die? I found those stories to be interesting. And as interesting as the stories were, my gosh, the artwork is what blew me away and kept me reading. Oh, I didn't even talk about, you know what? You can find out who that lady is yourself. I do like Annabelle. She's one of my favorite characters here. And I just love the way she's drawn. And yes, she's purposely drawn this way. And she's even on a cover like that with a little bit of a twist. This artwork is completely beautiful. And Fabiano is one of these artists, that I notice on New Mutants, but really it's this type of art that I just love. And the colors are just amazing. Now, it is broken down into 3 different storylines. Of course, you've got the introduction with the characters, and the end, and finding balance. You've got the second story arc, which a bunch of Greek figures end up playing a big part in that particular story. And they all come with, of course, a little bit of a twist. And then the third story, well, I'll just say it's a trip to hell. Yes, let's just say it like that. With Jess and Lila and Eddie. And, of course, Marcel. And that's all I will really say about it. It's a great storyline that had me hooked. And I'm so glad that Bar sent them my way, because I wouldn't even have known about this particular deluxe edition if I had not gotten those trade paperbacks. And it's one that I did want to highlight for the channel. Now, the covers, we just have the main cover. So, like, there's issue number 1, which, of course, is broken down by chapters. So you have chapter 1, and then there's chapter 2. So that's the cover to issue 2. There are really no variant covers. But what we do get in the back that's collected in this are the concept art. And one of the things that I'm glad they did not do, because I don't want to reveal who some of these characters are, because some of them do have a twist, is they don't tell you the names of the characters. So I'm glad they didn't do that, because usually when I'm showing the sketches, I have to skip some pages, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I can't show you that page. But no, this time around I could. And then you get the covers for issue number 1 there. But I think it's just issue 1. Yeah, so I don't know if they're going to collect the variant covers in another collection, but at least you have the main covers. I do love the way the bios are done. Stephanie Phillips, Flaviano, Rico Renzi, and Tom Napolitano. I love the way that this is all drawn. That's awesome. They look like complete badasses. And then your end sheets. Now, let's take a look at the build. 384 pages. It is sewn binding and printed in this thick, glossy paper stock. It's an absolute beautiful collection, and I'm glad I got to spotlight it. And a big thank you to my buddy Bar for sending them my way, the trades my way. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing the Slipcase Edition, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcon at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this Slipcase Edition. Let me know in the comments down below if you've even heard about Grimm, or if this is your first time hearing about it, or if you've been excited to get this particular deluxe edition and upgrade from your trade paperbacks or your single issues, and if you hope to continue the series in Slipcase Edition, or if you got the hardcover. Let me know all of that in the comments down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.